Significant and undercovered story here from the Daily Beast. The FBI appears to be illegally surveilling Americans without a warrant. This feels like deja vu because it absolutely is. So here's the details per the Daily Beast. The FBI, without any court order, sifted through the NSA's massive troves of foreign communications for information on American racially motivated violent extremists. That's according to a newly declassified order from the Secret Surveillance Court details. So even though the FISA court warned the FBI in 2018 that those warrant-free queries were sketchy and potentially illegal, the FBI has continued to do things. So why is this significant? First of all, it's just significant on its face. When you go and surveil Americans without a warrant, without going through the proper procedures, first of all, you're violating their rights. Second of all, look, if you care like everyone should about potential domestic violence and extremism, if you actually have someone who is a bad guy, who is indicted and facing justice through a court of law, all of this evidence that they gathered illegally is not permissible in court.
Yes.
So they end up weakening their case against people who may be legitimately bad actors by engaging in these illegal and unconstitutional tactics. And second of all, why you should care is, look, we've been saying here that there's this huge push in D.C. among a bipartisan push to expand powers of the FBI, of the national security state, increasing militarization, calls for a new domestic terror law so that we can match on domestic terrorism the horrible things that we've been doing to combat international terrorism. This is a little glimpse into why that is such an issue and why we should avoid moving in that direction at all costs.
Yeah, and that's right. This is at least the third set of FBI rule breaches in several years. That's according to Ken Vogel over at the Washington Post. And people need to realize just how much information they have. So give us an example. Apparently this is a very egregious one in the reporting. An FBI analyst looked through foreign NSA troves to vet a potential source in a predicated criminal investigation relating to public corruption. 7 FBI field officers were implicated in, quote, these and a number of similar violations. So what they're doing is taking information gathered on U.S. citizens by foreign services, then trawling through that. They never needed a warrant. And these are all American citizens. Now, a potential source is not even a subject of a criminal investigation. So they're taking the information that they have on you to see if you're trustworthy according to GCHQ in Britain and what they have on you because of the interconnected network of our data. This is one of the major things that was revealed in the Snowden docs, the way that the Five Eyes intelligence services move stuff around in order to get around laws that prevent them from doing this type of stuff, or supposed to prevent them from doing these things. And these are all just massive loopholes. And yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty ironic that the first time that it's really being used, and pretty explicitly now here, is evolved from terrorism towards like many of the people who architected the system in the first place. And now, they say racially motivated violent extremists. According to them, that's a euphemistic term to denote white supremacist violence. And where does it go from here? They said, because it's not just there. They also use it, quote, in connection with criminal investigations, including public corruption, healthcare fraud, transnational organized crime, violent gangs, and bribery investigations as well. So that's what they always do, is they find some politically convenient way to do it, and then they just expand it out constantly. While you were gone, we were talking about that bombshell story about the post office having the surveillance. Great, it was crazy. And as Ryan and I were talking about, this is why they put mail fraud on everything. That's like a standard FBI charge. They'll hit you with wire fraud and mail fraud.
Yeah.
Is because you can basically bend the rules in order to hit you with a felony in any way that you want because of the way that these things are written. It was totally insane, that whole thing. Yeah,
in the way that these tactics are weaponized to expand power of the FBI and the CIA. They're also politically weaponized to enhance the power of politicians who can say, look, we disrupted this plot. These bad guys were planning all this nefarious things. And sometimes that's true and that's great. They're able to disrupt the plot. Trust me, they've got plenty of money and tools at their disposal to do exactly that. But also, I mean, going back to the radar that I did recently, the new revelations about the Herald Square
I'm sorry I missed that
bomber, where, they really went out of their way to radicalize this guy and then to encourage him to create this plot. he starts to back out, but sort of loosely agree, like, oh, I guess I'll provide security, but I have to ask my mom about it. They get him, Bloomberg and the police commissioner are all able to say, look, we disrupted this horrible plot. It was going to, potentially kill thousands of people. They get to bolster their political standing. And so it's great for the people who want the power. It's great for these politicians. And meanwhile, there's an illusion of security and safety going on when really it's like the government behind planning these plots. So again, this is why these issues are so important. This is why, look, everybody here certainly abhors and hates and white supremacist violence and hatred. But you have to look at what they're telling you, look at what the facts are, and also understand they have all the tools at their disposal. And by the way, behind the scenes are apparently taking unconstitutional liberties in order to expand what they're able to do anyway.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Next week on Rising, we've got another great week planned for you all with friends of the show, David Sirota, Zed Jelani, Brianna Joy Gray, and more.
Remember to hit the subscribe button. Don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. And we will see you all later.
Have a good one, guys.